Look at my Star Trek toys! Whoosh up, everybody. Welcome back to Look at My Star Trek Toys. And, folks, do not adjust your screens. We have a third co-host today because we are bringing in our good friend, JD, over at JD Makes, at JD the Black Phoenix here on YouTube. Because, look, if you want to get on the show, the best way to do it
is to do it for us.
Is to do it for us. So if you would believe, JD did all the research and built out this show. And what are we talking about today? Today we are talking about the crossover. So this is a double crossover. We are crossovering. I don't think that's a word.
No.
With JD Makes, but we are also going to be talking about the crossover all within Playmates. So it's not quite, it's like a half crossover between Star Trek and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Welcome to the show, JD. Thank you. It's been far too long.
Thank you, guys.
Hold on, I definitely have a sound effect for this I never get to use.
Oh,
wow! It's great when it just goes on too long.
Not to be confused with
I am dude. Great. Goodbye, all the new listeners who decide to come on for the show.
No, they all need Doot too.
Yeah,
everybody needs Doot. So JD, talk to us about. All right, first off, let's do a little like beginning stuff. When did you get into Trek and the Playmates in the toy world?
Well, as a kid, same kind of like you as a kid. I remember. Actually, my uncle was watching Star Trek, and I was like, I don't know, Next Gen. He was watching Next Gen when it was in its first or second season. I guess I was about 7, 8, 9 years old, somewhere in that area, and I was just like, okay, this is cool. I'm gonna watch.
I mean, obviously.
And then, of course, after that, you got to get the toys.
And did you get the toys right then when you were a kid? When you started off right away?
If you're asking about the Galoob ones that came out in '88, no, I didn't get any of those at that time. It wasn't until the '92 line with Playmates that I actually got my first figures.
I started right away with the Galoobs. I didn't start getting Playmates until I was an adult. But I did have the old Galoobs back in the day. But you were a fan right away, and you bought some of the play. Do you have some of the original figures that you bought of the Playmates back in '91?
Yeah. In fact, a lot of them are on that shelf right there
in your amazing new studio in Texas that you've been showing out on your channel. So if you haven't subscribed to JD's channel, definitely the link is right there. It'll be in the show notes. Go and do it. So.
Wait, time out. Before you continue your questions, I have to insert my own opinion because whilst I, unlike the two of you gentlemen, did not jump into the Trek figures back then, what I did do almost instantly was jump into the Turtle figures. The Playmates Turtle action figures way back when they first came out. In fact, the biggest fight I ever had with my mother was attempting to get the what was it called? The Technodrome? The Technodome drome? The sort of ball play set.
Technodrome.
At Toys R Us, and she was a hard no on that because it was $100. Long story short, my nephew has all of my action figures because my mom gave them to him. I don't know that I'm happy about it.
Nice.
In fact, I might still go and steal them back. But regardless, I do feel particularly happy to be a part of this journey because the Turtles have a special part in my heart, as well as they do with most Playmates people, because I believe it's their most popular line.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. No, I was also a big Turtles fan right when it came out. I had many of the original figures. Of course, I don't have them anymore because they're probably all worth a fair amount these days. JD, were you a Turtles fan as well at the time?
Oh yeah. I had Turtles before I had Star Trek. In fact, Donatello was my very first figure.
And well, that's going to be my next question. Who's your turtle? Because mine actually was Donatello as well.
Oh yeah, Donatello all the way.
Interesting. I love Donnie. Nice. First of all, Turtles, like, they invented choking hazards because they, outside of the weapons, they came with the Raphael, the size were really small. I had to be a Michelangelo guy because of my name. However, secretly, I've always been a Leo guy. I love Leo.
Oh no, I was Donatello 100%. Now, of course, my older brother got me into the original graphic novels, which preceded the cartoon, the Eastman and Laird ones, and the figures. And so I was reading, like, they're pretty dark and pretty adult, certainly the original ones. And so I was always like, this is silly. Why are they eating pizza? They should be murdering people like they do in the comic book. But I was still a huge fan. I spent most of 7th and 8th grade like hand drawing turtles in my notebooks when I wasn't doing the Enterprise blowing up stuff. So I have a lot of this original art.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Well, but you're the only artist here.
Yeah. Well,
you are artist in your own rights.
Well, but not like art. I have to
music
say,
is art.
Music is art. But look, right here, hanging up on my wall, is the painting that you did of the two of us. Ooh, you can see my monitor. Ooh. This is what I'm looking at here. But yeah, so
there's all kinds of stuff happening.
Keith almost wept. Keith almost wept on air when we debuted that, if you recall.
I 100% do, because I love art and myself. So the intersection of art and narcissism really just came together beautifully.
Well, shall we start?
Thank you.
Do you remember being 14? Because I do.
Oh, I sure do. So all of these, this is all JD's work here. So walk us through here, and then we can all talk about what we were doing when we were 14.
Well, see, I was a whole year younger than y'all. I was 13.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it was 1994 was when Playmates, they had actually been trying to get the license for Star Trek to do something with the Ninja Turtles as early as 1991, but it took them a while because 91 was the 25th anniversary of Star Trek.
Yeah.
But everything got delayed, and they decided to try and line it up with the 10th anniversary of Ninja Turtles, which was 1994, from when the comic books.
I was going to say, I forgot they were that old.
Yeah, comic books came out in 84. And
wow,
so, yeah.
Oh,
wow. Been a minute, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think what we're saying is we're old.
Well, we are saying that.
But did you do this collage, JD? Like, this is amazing. I see.
Yes. I put that collage. That was, I just kind of went on Google Images and typed in 1994, TV.
I see some Mandy Patinkin there. You've got ER and Chicago Hope represented here. Yep. Got the X-Files, My So-Called Life, obviously Friends, Pulp Fiction. Boris Yeltsin makes an appearance. I love it.
Shawshank. Pulp Fiction.
So good. Whitney Houston, Madonna.
Pulp Fiction, one of my favorites.
That's amazing. That and all the cutouts, that feels incredibly 1994 to me. I feel like this is like on the cut, because back then, kids, when you got your textbook in school, you got a physical hard copy textbook that was about 300 pounds, and then you had to cover it with paper, right? You had to take your old shopping bag and build the cover on the book. It was so weird, but we all just accepted that as what you did.
That meant that your parents were cheap like mine.
Yep.
Because you didn't get the fancy ones that you had.
The clear ones, no.
We didn't even have those in Vermont. I don't think anyone I've never even heard of this thing other than the paper grocery bag.
Oh yeah, no, I remember they had the ones that you could actually have. They would have designs on them, and you could get like even TV. I actually remember that somebody got me a Ghostbusters one at one point. And so I think like my science book was covered with a Ghostbusters cover.
Wow, that is some bougie stuff right there. I don't know.
On occasion, if you were lucky,
most of them were brown bag.
Yeah, the brown bag was the way to go, because then you would just get a Sharpie and write math on the top and like your last name.
Well, but that I drew at least one Ninja Turtle and at least one Starship Enterprise on every one of my books. So there you go. So let's keep going.
So yeah, so they started doing crossovers. That year is when they started doing all the crossovers with the Ninja Turtles. They did the Apollo figures because that was also around the same time as the moon landing anniversary. I'm trying to remember what year that was now.
It was
69.
Yeah.
So it might have been the 25th anniversary of the
that
moon
would be.
landing.
Yeah.
Those are pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't think I ever saw those.
they got the Universal monsters, which you see there. They got
which they're
the
redoing,
they got
right?
Dracula.
I think they're redoing those now.
They've just started redoing them. Yeah. Actually, they're also currently doing a crossover with He-Man.
Oh, that's cool.
That just happened like a few weeks ago.
Wow, that's
But
smart
yeah,
because you
they
only
did
have
the
like
Universal monsters.
you have such a limited amount of characters on Turtles, so you do crossovers to fill out the line. That's smart. That shows a smartness and dedication that Playmates didn't necessarily bring to the latest line.
Oh, these are rad.
And what it was, they kept trying to get either Marvel or DC to give them the license, and they never would. So eventually, they just made generic superheroes.
Dollar store Superman Leonardo. Or
something like that. Actually, yeah, that's Michelangelo, and Donatello is like some kind of
Batman adjacent.
Oh, I like the Batman Donatello. That's cool.
Keith's going, oh, I'm gonna get on eBay in a little bit.
No. Hey, here's the thing. I was because like on the Facebook Marketplace stuff comes up. Now, of course, I was also a big G.I. Joe guy at this era, but the G.I. Joe figures now are, especially the vintage ones, they're so expensive.
Yeah,
so
I know.
Like, I can't buy one because if I buy one, then I'm gonna just melt into the world and I'll be bankrupt. So I need to have a different tax bracket before I can buy a single G.I. Joe.
I like Farmer in the Dell. Farmer in the Dell's not bad.
Yeah, that to me is the ultimate crossover that they did, was the farmers crossover
with pizza wheels.
Pizza wheels. So was this attached to any farmer IP or just farmer in general?
It was just they wanted to be able to make tractors, or they wanted to be able to make more vehicles, because more vehicles means more money.
It's so funny, like Farm Simulator Donatello. I feel like my dad would buy that. He spends a lot of time on Farm
I'm
Simulator.
Surprised, considering it was '94, that they allowed him to have a corncob pipe.
Oh, that's true.
Well, if it's a turtle smoking, it's cool.
I mean, 1994 was a different time. You could still buy candy cigarettes at that point. It wasn't quite the 80s, but we still had a little 80s bleed over. So of course,
true.
Who's this? I saw him on CNN last night talking about the moon landing.
Really?
William Shatner.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, Shatner was there live.
So let's get to the Ninja Turtles meets Star Trek. And yes, so first for Captain Kirk, they combined him with Leonardo. I got the picture there of the Playmates Kirk that came out actually about the same time. It was 94 for that, right?
I think so, for the multi-pack,
so. Yeah. And so this was the result, the combination of Captain Kirk and Leonardo.
So okay, so I have so many questions already about this Captain Kirk Leonardo. So he has a detachable shell? Is that?
Well, it's actually the base.
Oh. Because clearly, like, Kirk Leonardo, he lifts, bro. Okay. So they combined the base. They tore off the poor turtle's shell, which I believe would probably be fatal to make this work.
I didn't even think about taking any pictures of the back, actually. I can actually, real quick, if we want to switch over the camera.
Let's go to JD Toy Cam.
Side of what he looked like.
All right, let's take a look.
That way you can actually see the back side. So you see, he actually does still have the shell. It's just under the shirt.
Oh, I see. So he murdered a different turtle to make his base.
So is that it's hard to see. Is it paint? They just painted over the shell of the pre-existing figure?
No. It was sculpted that way to look like he has pulled the shirt over his shell and his pants, I should say.
You gotta tuck your shell into your pants.
It's such a weird bit of storytelling because they commit to the storytelling, but also what is the in-story canon that Leonardo is just dressing up like Kirk?
That's true. What is the story there? Or do they bother to have a story?
They don't. It was literally just to be able to do a crossover.
So he's got like sweatpants. He's
But-
wearing like very, very loose sweatpants. He's got a toupee. I love that too. God, that is amazing. Now these figures are actually pretty hard to get these days. Yeah, is that true?
Yeah. It took me Donatello from way back when I was a kid. I've had it for ages now, but I had to spend the last couple of years tracking down the rest of them, and I managed to do it.
Oh, that's some concept art.
Yeah, that was the concept art for Leonardo, which was actually going to have him be in the captain's wrap.
Oh, and all torn up like Riker.
Yeah, they decided to get rid of that real quick. Thankfully, it must have gone to a test group.
Yeah, I'll bet. I mean, I hate Kirk's wrap, but that actually looks pretty good on the figure because it's green. All right, so we saw Kirk. What do you say we talk about Turtle Spock?
Yes, which of course would have to be combined with Donatello. No one else would be right?
No, of course it's gotta
no,
be.
of course. I mean the nerd, which is why I always you know what? It wasn't because Donatello and I were both tech nerds at that point. For whatever reason, I thought the bow staff was just cooler.
Same.
Is that that's why you would we were Donatello fan as well?
It meant that you could just go out in the yard and pick up a stick and you were Donatello.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you didn't need a sword. Although I thought the sides were pretty cool. I mean, I'm not sure how practical they'd be, but they looked really cool. So I drew them a lot.
I actually love the live long and prosper turtle hand. Is pretty awesome touch.
That's true. It's a lot easier to do when you only have 3 fingers. So and they had choking hazards as well, including it looks like the exact same phaser and communicator from the Trek line.
Yes, it was literally the exact same molds and paint job and everything.
Oh, so here's a question for you, and I don't know, you may not know this. Did Varner Studios do the sculpts?
So I know that Varner Studios did the early Wave 1 Ninja Turtles, the regular line. I don't know if they did these figures. I kind of assume they probably did since they had such a strong connection to both lines.
That's pretty cool. I mean, to think about one studio doing both the Turtles and Trek, like it's such an iconic part of our childhoods. So yeah, here we have the Spockatello concept art. And is that the final figure in the picture there, or because the other one was the prototype? It looks pretty close to the final figure.
Well, this one they didn't. It doesn't look like they changed much. It looks like they mainly changed his bow. The third accessory that they brought with every one of the figures was a completely original. I mean, I hate to do this to Mike, but if you actually hop back over to the picture of Donatello with the accessories.
Oh yeah, that is. Huh. Space bow.
Let me see, where is it? It's called Ponfar Battle Bow. Is what it's labeled as on the package.
Okay, on the turtle one?
Yeah, sorry, I forgot to mention that they actually on every one of them they've given special names, like the Captain Leonardo, he came with his high trek katanas.
Yeah, which seems fine. I have much more questions about the Ponfar battle bow, because for those of us who know what Ponfar is, it's basically just a sex toy.
Well,
I mean,
that feels inappropriate. I mean, hey, I'm not going to tech kink shame you. By all means, like, live your life. But
amphibians do their own thing. That's all I can say.
Everybody does their own thing, and God bless them. But that's really funny.
That's a different video on YouTube that I have unfortunately seen.
Yeah, we're not going to link to that one.
Come on, buddy.
That will not be in the show notes.
Dr. McCoy. So for some reason, they decided that Raphael was going to be the option for going with Dr. McCoy. I guess it was of the attitude was kind of like a stodgy old doctor.
He was the crazy one. Raphael is a party dude. No. Party dude. Is that no?
Party dude is Michelangelo.
No, Michelangelo.
Michelangelo is the
party dude.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Raphael.
He was like the bad boy. He was sort of just like He was grumpy and he wanted to do his own thing. He's the last Ronin one.
All right, well that makes sense for McCoy then. McCoy was always the crustiest.
His weapon was the subspace size.
That makes more sense.
Subspace size. Which, I mean, that'd be pretty cool if you were phasing in and out of subspace. But I feel like whoever named these didn't actually know what any of these terms meant. They just picked from... They were looking for alliteration more than it making any sense.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
But I'm a fan of nonsensical alliteration. I mean, obviously. Those are cool. I like the silver sides. I mean, although you can see from the prototype and then what's in the box there, we went from gray to blue, which was a Playmates thing that always has driven me nuts about all the choking hazards being these weird Skittles colors when it all should have just been gray or something metallic. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, though. It's still a sort of metallic blue, though. That's the thing. All of them did come in a metallic color.
Yeah, it's not as bad as a lot of the choking hazards in the Star Trek line. But
I have to say, I actually love the box art. The whole sort of package here gives me very much something Mike would want to have purchased.
Well, hey, $500 and it can be yours, buddy.
I will show you we do have the back of the box when we get to the end.
Oh, cool. Nice. And there's our prototype. Looks like the concept art and the final came in pretty consistently. Those are cool. I mean, the tucked in turtle shell, it is feel a little odd to me. But I think were it me, I would not have it tucked in. But I get it. It's
how does a turtle put a shirt on under a shell?
I think the physics are important here, JD. I think the physics are important.
You know what? I guess if I really thought through, if I were going to dress a turtle, I think I would have to. The next episode, we try to dress turtles. Okay, well,
let's go to the zoo.
There's a lake behind the house. I can go. There's a lot of turtles there. Can you imagine watching me try to catch a turtle and then put it in a sweatshirt? I think that'd be.
That's actually, I could guarantee more views than we generally see.
I mean, a blank screen gets more views than we get, but it's fine.
All right, so now where are we at? What do we got to do? We got to beam some people up? No, this is...
All right, so beam Scotty. Scotty's the one who beams people up. He's the engineer. And, all they were left with was Michelangelo. So I guess they combined him with Scotty for that reason. And had nothing to do with...
Well, you know what? I'll tell you why. From a design level, right? So, because he has orange and not red, you wouldn't see the armbands on the red uniform. Because it would be red on red.
Yeah.
I bet.
Are those collector's cards? Those are
yes,
cool.
They came with the cards in each package. And he had this is a big one. Warp Engine Defendin' Nebula Nunchucks.
Wait, what?
Say again?
Warp Engine Defendin'?
Nebula Nunchucks.
That's just like word salad.
I'm just now seeing the belt buckles too, which are super rad.
I feel it's
it's
like Trump talking. I get a warp engine defending Nebula Nunchucks. Like it's just nonsense words all in a row.
I think this is my favorite one.
I mean, I don't like the red and the orange together, but I do.
One thing, real quick, have y'all been paying attention to the fact that they've also put toupees on every one of these turtles?
Yes. The luxurious hair on all of the turtles.
I think it's a bit of.
Exactly.
I think there's a comedic grotesqueness to it that I appreciate. They do the same thing on the current day monster universe ones. Like the Frankenstein has a weird like hair sculpt to it that is, I think, supposed to be comedic, but it just makes it look very ugly.
But I also think, like, in canon, right? I know these are all supposed to sort of be crossover deals, but in a lot of ways, it's like the turtles were on Halloween. So they're not really they're just the turtles dressed up as all the characters they see on television.
This concept art is really cool with the sort of the battle scars.
Right? Absolutely doing some fanfic. Cosplay. That's what the kids call it. They call it cosplay.
Mm-hmm.
That's yeah. Well, that's weird. It came out really pink in the concept art there, which actually works better with the orange. But anyway, those are cool. Now, my understanding is that you did customs.
I did indeed.
Let's see the back of the box, but then I want to talk about all those customs. That's a great back of the box.
Yeah, really.
I love being able to see all the figures. See, like when I was a kid,
that shows the problem. There's only 4,
right?
And how many was in original Star Trek?
Like 290 something.
No. I didn't mean the toy line. I was talking about the show.
Oh, the show. Yeah. Well, more than that.
Yeah. You had 7 main characters.
Well, so luckily, I know a customizer who is a prodigious customizer who might have solved these problems. JD, talk us through your customs.
So first up, Uhura. This one to me was obvious. Uhura should have just been combined with April O'Neil.
Oh my goodness, of course.
And they're in the same scale, right?
Yes, actually they are. That's a whole other thing that I don't think we have time for. But at some time, I should tell you the story about the Ninja Turtles scale and why Playmates does everything and did everything that time period in 5-inch scale. But yeah, so there is my April O'Neil.
Wow, that's really fantastic.
As Uhura.
Really great. Yeah.
All right, so you took the April O'Neil and then did a repaint and sculpt, not the Uhura figure. That looks great. And you got the gloss paint as well. That's flawless. That's really cool.
And even the hair had to be adjusted, right? Clearly.
I just did a dark wash on it. That's all I did. Yeah, on the hair. And obviously I was.
But fair. Wow, that's great. That's really cool.
I definitely had myself a nice little crush on April O'Neil.
So next up is Sulu. JD, what did you do with Sulu?
So Sulu being the helmsman of the Enterprise, while the Ninja Turtles didn't exactly have a regular driver, they had Ace Duck. It was only in a handful of comics and only in one episode of the show.
I was gonna say, like, I don't think I'd ever seen the Duck before. I was thinking that might have been a Howard the Duck.
No, he was actually in the comic books quite a bit actually later on, but he only appeared in one episode of the show, and so I was just like, I'm gonna make him Sulu.
I like it.
I mean, that's really excellent. I mean, it's crazy that that's a custom because that fits with the main line absolutely perfectly. So, Mike, go back and show the original figure again. The original Duck figure. Yeah. Just go back one. There you go. Okay, so how did you do that? Did you have to cut and fill?
Yes, that came down just filling in, especially where all the feathers are on the chest and the sleeves and the pants. I actually didn't change anything. I literally just painted them, and left them the way they are.
It's remarkable how smooth you were able to get it. Cutting and sanding, I guess that's really impressive. I think that's what makes it look so perfect, along with the toupee. The duck
is
toupee.
Great. The toupee is a big win.
I had to keep the theme going.
Oh, I mean, of course, that's that's absolutely hilarious. What a great figure!
Well
I
done.
wish I knew more of the Duck.
I may have to do some research on the Duck.
Yeah. Well, speaking of toupees. Let's see what you did with Chekhov.
So last person really left was Casey Jones. And I was like, all right, that actually kind of makes sense for Chekhov. Chekhov did, run the weapons later on. So, it works. And so there he is. There is Ensign Casey Jones.
Wow. That is once again flawless. So now, of course, he did all of those sit-ups to get that 6-pack, and then you cover it. But once again, like just how smooth you were able to get the details on that, on the shirt there, and then the hockey pad That's so cool. That's a great figure. I'm really impressed by how like
that I just left on his show.
Yeah, well, but nonetheless, like to integrate it as perfectly as you did, these are very impressive customs, JD.
Yeah. Do you have a special shelf for them, or do they all kind of have a?
I do have a special shelf. It's actually so you can't see it. I'll have to show you a picture later.
That's really cool. So here's some more of the concept art. Their hair is better in the concept art than it ended up being on the figures.
Oh hell yeah!
I mean, all of our hair is better in the concept art. Let's be honest.
I just put a hat on.
That's true. So you have some of these pictures from the play sets. Now, did you build these play sets as well, or do they come with some of the figures?
Oh no! Actually, most of the of what we have here is stuff that I've purchased from Dazbot, Triple Fiction, and Tracker on like eBay and that kind of thing.
And because Playmates did these in the 5-inch scale, it still fits. Got the Jeffries tubes going up there. And another thing, I love that light in there. I know Dazbot has some of those pot lights. I have them. I was actually using some of the Dazbot pieces when I was, mocking up a set for a show that I'm working on. And I was like, oh, these are actually kind of the right scale. I was using the Galoob figures and doing some set design with them. It was really fun. Oh, that one's really cool all together there. Getting the perspective shots in there. That's really cool. And you've got it on green, so you could key it out and finished with AI. That's really cool.
Right.
And nobody else on the planet has a full cast of these turtle figures.
Exactly.
Well, all right. So as we're finishing up, if people want to contact you to buy some of your stuff, how do they do that?
You can find me on Facebook, and you can find me on Instagram. I actually have one more before we go.
Oh, you got Splinter.
And do you recognize who I?
Not on the pixels that we're seeing here.
No. That's Sarek. Spock's father.
Oh wow, that is so cool.
I actually just finished that one the other day, and I was just like, well, guess it's a good time to get it in.
The line keeps expanding. That's true. Of course. We need a Splinter.
Oh yeah, eventually got to do Shredder and
Bebop and Rocksteady. Yeah, I got to do the whole.
That's cool.
The whole gang.
Wow. Okay. So all right. So we got to think about who would be Shredder. Like Shredder feels very Klingon to me.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of my thought.
And then Bebop and Rocksteady. Well, the problem because it's got to be original series.
Well, so Bebop, I actually already figured out because he looks kind of like a pig. Well, warthog, a pig.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Got to be a Tellarite.
And they do have sort of Tellarite personalities too. It's perfect.
Just gotta wait till I can find them at a good enough price because those vintage ones are expensive right now.
Yeah. And I know that Playmates has re-released a lot of the original figures, but they haven't done all of them yet. Look, JD, we've had all sorts of technical fun, which will be really curious to see what we actually broadcast and how many of the seams that you can see as the viewer. But we are immensely grateful for you coming on the show, JD, and setting up and doing all of this research and compiling all this stuff for us, as well as creating these remarkable customs.
Is always incredible.
Really, really fun. It's been far too long for us to have you on the show. We're grateful. We are sister Star Trek toy channels here on the YouTubes. So once again, you can see all of JD's links. We're going to put them in the show notes below here on the YouTube. Make sure that you subscribe and check out all of JD's videos. You have like 200 something videos up now?
Sounds about right.
It's amazing. So definitely go check it out. JD, any final thoughts?
I had a really good chicken last night.
That's perfect.
I love how the sentence began, I had a really good, and I'm like, is he going to lie and say he had a really good time on the show? And I'm like, no, he just called an audible.
That was awesome.
All right, folks. Thanks again for watching. You can see us back next week with another episode of Star Trek Toys about a topic we don't know yet, but it's gonna be fun. Thank you so much for watching. JD, thank you so much for coming on. If we ever get this technical stuff figured out, we'll have you back on again. Till then, this has been Look at My Star Trek Toys!